The St. Louis Cardinals dropped their series opener to the Boston Red Sox by a score of 13-9 on Friday afternoon. A beautiful day at Fenway Park for Boston's home opener, I will add. But have no fear, Cardinals fans, 2 games remain in the series. The bad news is that's very much weather permitting, and the forecast for this weekend does not look great. So we'll keep you posted. Yesterday's game was not necessarily well pitched, really by either team, now that I'm thinking about it. But St. Louis in particular allowed 13 runs on 16 hits, walked 8 batters. Not what you want. On the flip side, I do remain encouraged by the offense, which has recorded at least 10 hits in all 7 of their games, and they banged out 51 total runs. So yesterday, not good for the arms, continues to be encouraging for the bats. Welcome back to Cardinal Territory. I'm Katie Wu, hitting you with a quick one today. A couple of news updates and a couple of things to address. Let's get right into it, starting with our scouting report presented by FanDuel Sports Network. Prior to Friday's game against the Red Sox, the Cardinals placed infielder Nolan Gorman on the 10-day injured list with a right hamstring strain retroactive to April 2nd. Thomas Saggese was recalled from Memphis as the corresponding move. So bad news first, obviously, that Nolan Gorman is hurt. The good news in this situation is that both he and the Cardinals think this is a very minor stint. We talked to Nolan Gorman yesterday. He sustained this hamstring strain on Tuesday night in extra innings in that loss to the Angels, running from first to second. You can kind of see him on the replay grab at his hamstring immediately when he takes off for second base. He was down, unavailable on Wednesday. Cardinals wanted to give him a day to see if it would recover. Then you have the team off day on Thursday. So really it was about 48 hours of recovery time. Got better, but still not enough where he could play. Cardinals did not want to be down 4 or 5 days without a player. That's just too long of a time to be without a guy, especially an infielder. Cardinals, I don't know if you guys know this, don't really have a lot of those on their roster. They certainly don't have a backup shortstop. We haven't talked about that at all. So they placed Nolan Gorman on the injured list. He is eligible to come back that first series of the next homestand against the Philadelphia Phillies. Doesn't sound like he'll be out super long. So dodge a bullet there. Obviously, you don't like to see this for Gorman, who has kind of had a weird start to the year, right? He came in over the offseason as someone that President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak was stressing, like playing time. And he's been pretty much relegated to a bench role to start the year. Very small sample size. He has looked good, though. He's had 9 plate appearances, 4 hits, a homer, and a walk. The swing looks good. The approach looks good. So hopefully this is indeed a minor stint for Nolan Gorman and we see him back in action soon. In the meantime, Thomas Saggese will kind of be that bench depth. He might get a start. He can play shortstop. If the Cardinals want to give Mason Wynn a day off, Saggese is the natural fit at shortstop there for how their roster plays. So we'll see Saggese, but this is not necessarily looking like it's going to be a long-term thing. So all things aside, it's not the worst news in the world, but that's not why you're here. You're here, most likely, because you want to talk about the bullpen. And I'm here to tell you that I think we should take one big collective deep breath. And I'm prepared for the blowback already, but hear me out. Prior to Friday's game, Cardinals relievers had a collective 2.66 ERA, and they were one of 3 teams in all of baseball whose bullpen had not given up a home run. The New York Mets and the Boston Red Sox were on that list. I do not know if the Mets gave up a home run yesterday. So fact check me for that one. It's been great over the last 3-4 games? No. But let's do our normal preface with the bullpen. We overanalyze every single relief performance because they're coming in the most pivotal spots of the game. If the game is blown in the 7th or 8th, who are we looking at? We're looking at the relievers, right? Now, if the game is won in the 7th or the 8th, we're not really talking about the relievers. We're like, yeah, that's their job. But the second they don't come through, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Memphis time. I don't think we're there yet. I think there are some players to monitor. I think there are some things to be slightly concerned about, but I don't think we are in full panic mode over the bullpen just yet. Let's start with Ryan Fernandez, who, as we know, a Rule 5 pick last year, was nails for them, really developed into a place where Ollie Marmol felt comfortable using him in a high leverage role at the end of the season. And we're going to continue to see Ryan Fernandez in higher leverage roles. Now, it hasn't looked good. We're going to pull up the stats and take a deep breath. He's pitched almost 4 innings. He's allowed an earned run in each of them except for the home opener on March 29th. The last two outings, the April outings in particular, not great. 2 earned runs, 3 runs total on April 1st, 3 earned runs on 2 hits on April 4th. And it just hasn't been effective for Ryan Fernandez. And again, we'll preface this with a small sample size, but at this point, I think it's fair to say, hey, what's going on? So we asked him. Proof that we do ask questions. And credit to Ryan Fernandez, who got roughed up the last couple of appearances and was really agreeable to this conversation after the game on Friday, where he said, I'm working on some things. I don't know where this happened over spring, but I kind of lost the shape of my slider, the feel of my cutter, and I'm encouraged. I definitely felt like my last 2 pitches on Friday's outing, something felt better, something clicked. And anytime you hear a player say something clicked, you can kind of take that mental sigh, that sigh of relief. He said, I've been working at it extensively. It came out in spring. Everything was fine. And then I kind of lost it halfway through. He said him and pitching coach Dusty Blake have been looking at all the numbers, and they feel like they figured some things out. Mechanic-wise, he felt like he was pulling off the ball. His head was pulling. I'm not going to demonstrate that because it would look really weird. But I think the optics, if you understand baseball or any sports really, if you're pulling your head off, you're probably going to lose some control and command there. Baseball Savant, for those of you familiar with that page, does a really nice job of breaking down pitch profiles from year to year. Shout out Jeff Jones, who was looking at this yesterday. If you go to Ryan Fernandez's Baseball Savant page, you can see his slider in particular, the movement, the vertical break, the horizontal break, how that compares to last year. We're looking specifically at the slider because that's the pitch that seems to be giving Fernandez the most trouble early on. And it is a noticeably different number. So I would go on Baseball Savant. I'm looking at it right now and just kind of compare and see. So when I reference these numbers, it's easier to understand where I'm coming from. He wants his break to be at as close to 0 as possible. He says if it doesn't, it gets too loopy. And, if you have a slider, you definitely don't want it to be loopy. And last year, he did a nice job with his slider and just being effective with it. And this year, again, hasn't really been that effective for him. But talking to him and Ollie Marmol after the game, as they continue to work through things in real time, slowly encouraging. I don't think we pressed the panic button on Fernandez yet. I think we give him a couple more appearances. If he continues to struggle with the slider, we're having a different conversation. But the good news is that they're at least aware of the problem and they have a game plan to fix it. So we'll see how that goes. What I'm not really worried about, seriously, is the 8th inning, 9th inning tandem of Phil Maton and Ryan Helsley. I think the Phil Maton signing is going to end up being one of the sneaky good signings of the year. And hey, if you're only going to make one free agent signing, John Mozeliak, it better be a good one. And I think Phil Maton is exactly what this bullpen needs. And we talked about it when he was signed, kind of that veteran presence. He's also so effective and so durable. Now, you're going to see a little bit of a hesitance from the Cardinals in terms of that durability standpoint in the first few weeks of the season because Phil Maton was signed so late in the spring, because he didn't have a full spring to ramp up. He said he's fine, but the Cardinals are going to be, practice patience or caution with him just to make sure that they don't overdo it early. But I really like what we're seeing out of Phil Maton. He's effective. And when he comes in the game, you kind of just already know it's that bridge to Ryan Helsley, very similar with what we saw from Andrew Kittredge. And Helsley's looks great. In fact, the Cardinals have been winning, or, that he's only had one save situation. So, I don't really think anyone's worried about Ryan Helsley either. Jojo Romero, fine. I thought we saw a better outing from him against the Angels. Chris Roycroft's going to continue to develop in these spots. I think Kyle Leahy is going to be fine as well. That's someone that the pitching staff or the Cardinals coaching staff is very high on. And, Steven Matz has looked fine in this long relief role. We talked about the differences and the balances that you have as an organization when you use, you essentially have 7 relievers and a long man, which is what Steven Matz is. And that's difficult for usage. Like Steven Matz threw 3 innings yesterday. He's going to be down for at least 3 days. So then you really have 7 relievers to choose from instead of 8. But this is the path the Cardinals wanted to go on. So that's where they're going to be. I'm not worried about the bullpen yet. I think we give them a couple of days. Come back from the road trip and we're still talking about late inning leads being surrendered. Then I will say I'm sorry and maybe we can worry about it. But right now, I think we all just take a deep breath. They're not going to win every single game. And we'll get into some of the reasons why I think this has been such an encouraging start for the Cardinals after we hear from this episode's sponsor.
FT fam, legends never die. That is the motto for Homage. Go to homage.com and get yourself maybe one of these tees. This was one of my favorites from spring training. You got a little Grapefruit League action. Nice, iconic looking logo. And behind me on the back is all the teams that are listed for the Grapefruit League. You've got, of course, if you're more of an Arizona person, you've got the t-shirt for that too. But Kratz, I just love the way that they give you the highest quality material and then a little vintage action if you're looking for it.
I love the vintage. I've been a baseball fan my whole life, and teams change their logos. If you're looking for a logo that your team used to have, Homage is your place to go. Go cop one of the old logos from the major league teams that maybe they don't use anymore.
Yeah, homage.com/foul territory. Go to the website and then use the code foul territory, the name of our show, for 20% off if you're a first-time purchaser on the website. Go check it out, FT fam.
Wait, I actually really like that. I love the old classic logos. I am going to check that out after this episode. Okay. As we record this on Saturday, April 5th, hours before the Cardinals maybe not play a game. I'm looking out the window right now. It doesn't look like it's raining, but it doesn't also look great. They're 4-3. And every single one of their games, they've been competitive in. And while yesterday's game, I think there's going to be some griping over just because the pitching, not good. It started in the first inning, right? The Red Sox come out, they hang a 5 spot on Eric Fetty. Fetty has virtually zero command. He just doesn't look like himself. You kind of knew from the jump it was not going to be a good day from him. Last year's team, if any team puts on a 5 spot in the first inning against the 2024 St. Louis Cardinals, that game is over. They're not coming back from that. I'm packing it up. Close the scorebook, shut the computer. See ya. Have a great day. This year's team, and I think this was felt collectively across the writers, at least the ones I was sitting next to, we're like, all right, how are they going to come back from this one? This is a good test for them to see if this offense can rally back. If you're going to give up 5 runs, if you're going to trail 5-0, do it in the first. Don't do it in like the 8th. And they did. Ivan Herrera continues to swing it. 3-run homer, which off the bat, I did not think was leaving the yard. It might have been just a difficult day to pitch at Fenway yesterday because balls were flying everywhere. And they continued to crawl back. Let me pull up the box score because there were so many lead changes yesterday that it was kind of hard to keep up. So the Red Sox score 5 in the first. Cardinals, they get a run back in the third. Boston scores again. Then that 3-run homer from Herrera in the fourth makes it a 6-4 ball game. And you're feeling much better about a situation if it's 6-4 in the fourth rather than 5-0 in the first. Then it's a 1-run ball game. The Cardinals score again in the fifth. And then it gets a little dicey there. Eric Fetty gets through 5, which is important for bullpen length and saving arms. That he gets through 5 after coming out so rocky is important. But they tack 2 runs on, the Red Sox do. And then it just kind of becomes like a back and forth scoring affair. But no, the Cardinals did not come out on top in this situation. This is an encouraging sign because they kept fighting back. They kept taking quality of at-bats. They were never out of it, even in the 9th where the Red Sox tried to give that ball game away. Cardinals score 3 times on 2 errors in the 9th and load the bases. The Red Sox have to bring in their closer. They have to bring in Aroldis Chapman to close that game out, which is not something Alex Cora wanted to do. No, the Cardinals didn't win that game. Ivan Herrera bounced into a game-winning double play. But Ollie Marmol talked about little victories within losses. And I don't want to sound like this is like, oh, they're trying their best. This is not where I'm coming from. But from a baseball perspective, it is important if your team, if you're the Red Sox and you're blowing out a team and they rally so hard that all of a sudden an off day for your closer, a rest day for your closer, you now all of a sudden have to put him in the ball game, that impacts your usage for the rest of the series. So no, the Cardinals did not win that ball game. They made it interesting in the 9th. They came up short, but the Red Sox had to use their closer. Now it's a little bit impacted for the rest of the series. The fight from this team is what's different. And as we're 1 week into the season, I'm curious, drop me a note in the comments. Okay, that photo behind me, quick side rant. It is so scary. I literally can't look at it before I fall asleep. And now it's all I can see on the screen. If you're on the podcast, you're not going to know what I'm talking about, but there is a frame photo in my very small hotel room and it freaks me out. Don't like it. Anyway, back to my rant. This is why I can't host solo because I have the attention span of like an actual squirrel. Last year's team did not have these kinds of competitive at-bats. And when we talked to Ollie after the game, he said, if we keep having approaches like this, if they keep fighting, if they keep rallying, every inning is like its own game. He said that from day one of the season, and I do see it because they could be trailing by 5, they could be down by 2, they could be up by 3. Their approach is the same. They are relentless offensively. That is a really good sign, and a sign that I think this club might be a little more fun. So I'm interested to know how fans are feeling about this. Again, it's only been a week, but I think there's some very encouraging early returns on the offense. Do you feel the same way I do? Do you feel like this approach is different? Do you feel like when the team is losing that they're not exactly out of it? Because I do. And I did not feel that way last year. And most of the time I felt like after a big scoring inning or scoring opportunity from the other team that game was over. So the last thing we're going to talk about here, because I need to get my life together and get to Fenway Park and beat the rain and also get a coffee. We're going to talk about Wilson Contreras a little bit, and I still don't think we have anything to be concerned about. He smoked a single in his last at bat. He did strike out 3 times before that and bounce into a double play, but I've gotten a couple of questions on if it's time to drop Wilson Contreras down in the order. I like him in the 2-hole, obviously. Ollie Marmol does too. I don't think so yet, but let's see how the rest of this Red Sox series goes. Hope maybe, for Contreras, that hard hit ball towards the end of the game yesterday got him back on track because he really smoked it. It was loud. A lot of anger in that swing. But it hasn't been a good start for Contreras. Let me look up his stats real quick. Let me pull that up. I should have done this beforehand. He has 2 hits on the season, so that's good. I also didn't spell his name right, even better. 2 hits on the year. His OPS is 211. Not great. It's not what you want. We know he's been slumping to start the year. When or if the Cardinals drop him down in the order? I don't think it's time to do that yet because you want to, support your guy. He is a huge, huge part of this offense. And you want to express confidence. And hey, Contreras, you're going to be fine. We're going to keep you in the 2-hole. But if the Cardinals do drop him, might I suggest, for those of you who listen to other episodes, that it might be time for Herrera in the 2-hole. I'm manifesting this. Ollie Marmol likes the lefty-righty split at the top of the lineup. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think the players like it too. Like we talked about before in prior episodes, it's really hard as an opposing manager to game plan when you go lefty-righty. So sure, could another lefty come up? You're thinking like a Burleson. Maybe, but then you have 3 lefties at the top of your order, and that's you create a lane for the opposing manager to manage against you, and I don't think Ollie Marmol is going to do that. So if the Cardinals get to the point where they feel like they no longer can have Contreras in the 2-hole, again, I don't think they're there yet, but let's, hypothetically speaking, I think Herrera is the natural fit to go there. He's looked great. His 3-homer game, we talked about that in the last episode with Bernie. The swing, everything looks fine there. I guess the moral, the point of this episode is let's all just take a deep breath. Let's be a little patient. I know we don't have that setting. I get it. I'm prepared to ride the roller coaster with you guys every year. I know that after 2-3 game sample size, fans want to shake it up. I understand. But I'm just saying here, whether it's the bullpen, whether it's Wilson Contreras' slump to start the year, let's just give it a little bit more time. Let's see where the team is at after the road trip. And then maybe Ollie Marmol shakes it up. I will say this year, I thought Ollie's managed well in terms of lineup construction, playing time, when to use different guys. I loved him pinch hitting Baker in that situation in the 9th there. Also, that was a great at-bat from Luken Baker. Was definitely swinging for the monster there in a scoring opportunity, which is the whole point of his role. But you saw Brant Brown's whole strategy in that at-bat. There's a time to hit, there's a time to slug. He was slugging. And then he didn't get the pitch he wanted. He was super selective, and he worked a pivotal walk. So shout out Luken Baker. That was just another sign to me that the offense is clicking. Cardinals fans, I think this team is going to be better than we might have initially thought, me at least, to start the season. And drop me in the comments, too, if you feel like that's the same. We'll do a mailbag episode soon. We're kind of due for that. But before we say our goodbyes, I would just like to remind you that – oh, no, I pressed the wrong button. Shocker. I'm struggling today, you guys, but we'll struggle through together. You can stream the St. Louis Cardinals games through FanDuel Sports Network, and if you use the promo code BASEBALL30, you can start it off with a 30-day extended free trial at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com/packages. This deal expires May 2nd, 2025, $19.99 a month after your free trial. Cancel during your free trial to avoid charges. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com for details. I'll keep you posted on the weather. Andre Palante is supposed to start today at 5:10. I don't know. I don't even know what time the game is. Oh, God. 5:10, 5:40, somewhere in the 5 o'clock Eastern time range. And then Sunday Night Baseball, Miles Michaelis tomorrow. If the Cardinals get rained out today, they will play a doubleheader tomorrow, most likely. Just talking to some people at the ballpark. The Cardinals and Red Sox obviously do not play again this season after this year, so they would really like to avoid one of those one city, one day stopover trips. Those are a nightmare for everyone involved. So you can stay up to date with the weather on Twitter. Thanks for watching Cardinal Territory. I'm back with Bernie at the end of the series. We'll let you know when that episode drops. Kind of hard to plan because we don't know when the games are going to be. Like I said, drop me some comments, concerns, observations about the team, and we'll get a mailbag episode up pretty soon. I'm Katie Wu. This is Cardinal Territory. Thanks for watching.